Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time from MegaPorkChopExpress. Thank you so much for that. Now, for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, commentaries, whatever it may be, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for the 2001 comedy Evolution. Now, this is a film I always liked. This is a film I always thought was underrated, and I always thought it got a bad rap. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's as good as Ghostbusters, but I always thought it was fun. I'll watch this over Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'll watch over Ghostbusters 2016, and I always thought it had a nice energy to it with a very fun cast, especially David Duchovny and Orlando Jones. The two of them have wonderful chemistry with each other. Like, these two guys, all four worked well, but especially the two in the middle, David Duchovny and Orlando Jones, they had great, like, a bromance chemistry to them. And you got people like Ted Levine, and you got Dan Aykroyd, and supporting cast. And, of course, directed by Ivan Reitman. And I haven't talked about Ivan Reitman because sadly he passed away. When I did that video about my top 5 favorite military comedies, I had recorded that previously, and when I uploaded, that was around the time where Ivan Reitman was pronounced to having passed away, which is very sad. And Ivan Reitman, I think anyone could and would and should say that he was one of the best comedy directors we had. You just look at his filmography: Stripes, classic; Meatballs, fun; Ghostbusters 1 and 2, love Ghostbusters. I always liked Ghostbusters 2. Twins, Killer and Cop, 2 very fun Arnold Schwarzenegger films. Dave, underrated film with Kevin Kline. 6 Days, 7 Nights. I wish they had a Blu-ray. That's another one I always enjoyed. I always forget Ivan Reitman directed that. And this one. Now, when it came out, yes, there are elements of Ghostbusters. The team getting together, they're facing against a threat. Instead of ghost paranormal, it is science fiction with aliens. Yes, you look at the characteristics. You have David Duchovny's character, who's more of the brain. You have Orlando Jones, who's more of the mouth. Seann William Scott's got more of the heart. Then you have the fourth member, Ernie Hudson, or in this case, Julianne Moore. But you can also say she's kind of the Dana Barrett as well, kind of mixed together. They have the Walter Peck type of character. Here's Ted Levine as this asshole military guy that gets in their way. You even have an appearance from Dan Aykroyd. Here he plays the governor. You have them fight this big creature at the end. And the characters have sort of this blue collar, which I enjoy, familiarity with them. So it took the Ghostbusters ingredients, but I still thought made a very fun, entertaining, and at times rather funny flick. Now, it's not a flawless film. It's not a 5 out of 5 star film. I do have issues with it, but overall, I would love to have seen a sequel to this. I would love to have seen... there was like a short-lived TV cartoon that didn't have a whole lot to do with this. But other than that, I mean, it just recently got a Blu-ray. Like, recently. Now, this is not that. This is from another source when this film was not on Blu-ray, and I'm glad to keep this, because I like this cover. It's got special features from the DVD, including HBO First Look, commentary. I would say, if you ever get the DVD and check if the Blu-ray has this. Again, this one does, but it's a different kind of Blu-ray. Check out the commentary with Ivan Reitman, actors David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, and Seann William Scott. That's a very fun commentary track. They're all in the same room. They're joking with each other, having fun. And it's also great to listen to now that Ivan has passed away. And it's just, they have a joy and love for each other. And it's a fun time. It's definitely one of the better commentary tracks if you want it for entertainment value. Definitely listen to that. But the story... David Duchovny and Orlando Jones, they worked at this university. They're teachers. Orlando Jones is also a coach. David Duchovny, you later on find out he used to work with the government, but bad things happen, so now he has his teaching job. And he's not really taking it seriously. Like, there's a point where he gives everyone A's. And you have these two guys. One of them is Ethan Suplee, who I remember from Mallrats. In Mallrats, he's the guy staring at the picture, trying to find the hidden picture in that. Remember back in the day, you had those pictures, and if you relax your eyes, you'll see a hidden picture in it. The guy who kept looking at that in Mallrats is Ethan Suplee. He was also in a lot of other stuff, too. Like, he was in The Butterfly Effect, he was in others. He's one of these two brothers, and to show how David Duchovny doesn't care about teaching, is like, listen, I just could not give you an A on these puppies. He gave him a C or it was like, this is what the paper was, ladies and gentlemen. Cells are bad. My father lives in a cell, and it's pretty much describing a jail cell. And David Duchovny I liked from the X-Files. I've always enjoyed him from the X-Files, and it was nice to see him play something a bit different, a bit somehow in his wheelhouse, but he's able to have a bit more fun. He was able, when you watch the X-Files as I did, there are moments that you just see his sense of humor come out and comedy, and he could be very dry with his wit. I think that worked very well in this film. I think it would have been great to see him in more movies like this, but this movie was a massive flop, both by critics and box office, so thus killed chances of that happening. But again, as a big fan of the X-Files, it's great to see David Duchovny in this type of role and have fun. And like I say, his chemistry with Orlando Jones is fantastic. They work very well together. These two are great together. They have great back and forth. I know they became good friends afterward, which is nice to see. And Seann William Scott, he's a guy that wants to be a firefighter. He's failing from time to time, but he's got a good heart, just maybe not the most of brains on his shoulder. But he has a goofy charm to it. This meteor lands, blows up Seann William Scott's truck. Duchovny, Orlando Jones, they checked it out. Since they worked with the university and the science division, they go in this cave system and they find this weird stuff going on. First is a meteor, that they come back and there's mushrooms and then these weird worms. And it's like such a fast state of evolution, but of this alien species. So they kind of look like stuff in our world, but not quite. Like I said, while one of the flaws I have with the film is the early 2000s CG is... That was a bad era for CGI. Even in films I love. I love Mortal Kombat from 1995. No one would say the CGI that is good or holds up. And this is 2001. This is around the time of like The Mummy Returns. Remember the CGI Dwayne Johnson on the Scorpion King at the end of The Mummy Returns? That's the same year as this, 2001. So I do wish there was much more practical effects. There are some, and when you see some, like these ape-like creatures, look really cool. I wish they utilized more puppetry. I wish they utilized more animatronics. I think that, like, you look at Ghostbusters, a lot of those effects still look really cool. Even the ghost effects, like the library ghosts, I still think they look really cool with that old-fashioned technology. And then you have like the Stay Puft being a physical effect. It still works for that film. Or the Terror Dogs. Here, the CGI for the time was decent, but nowadays will look fairly dated. But I do like the designs, like this creature here that's not really a dog, but I don't know what the hell you even call this creature here. Or you have this flying dragon type of creature where our characters have to fight it in this department store, which is to be one of the best scenes in the movie. And the humor is fun. I don't think it's as funny as Ghostbusters. I do think there's funnier Ivan Reitman films. I would get more laughs out of Stripes, Ghostbusters. But there's still moments that still make me smile. Whether it be the way again the characters play off each other. Ted Levine, a guy who I enjoyed in this film called The Mangler. He was in The Silence of the Lambs. He would go on to be on the TV show Monk. Ted Levine, was great to see him. Even though he's the human villain, he's still having fun. It's a very different role from Silence of the Lambs, and it just nice to see Ted Levine, good actor. And some of the jokes I liked, for example, Ted Levine calls Orlando Jones' character is Mr. Block. And so Ted Levine accidentally calls him Mr. Black. And Orlando turns and goes, "It's Block." I like the way he looks at David Duchovny, like, that was a little fun, laughable moment. Good laughable. Or when the two of them are looking at these newly formed creatures, and Duchovny's telling Orlando, "Stag one." "Stag one? I've seen this movie. The black guy dies first. You do it then." And of course the big scene where the bud gets inside him. And if you don't do this type of joke, I thought it was done rather well here. Where a bud is crawled up his ass, and we gotta amputate. No, don't cut the leg. It's going up his testicles. Okay, screw it. Cut the leg. Wait, I think I did his colon. How we gonna do it? Rectal. And just Orlando Jones has a lot of exuberance. He plays along well. Like, no! We need to find some lubricant. We don't have lubricant. There's always time for lubricant! And just because the actors are so in sync with the ridiculous of the situation, and you have, like, Orlando Jones, who's an actor who sadly, he had chances, but the films he was in just didn't do well. He was on Mad TV, and then he did films like Double Take, that film with, was it Eddie Griffin? That didn't do anything. I think that was around the same time as this. He was in that crocodile film, Primeval, which was a lame movie because it tried to be very, I don't know if it's like political about the government, and then, well, I was going to spoil the film. I won't spoil it in case people are looking forward to we watched Primeval back in the day. But what they do with Orlando Jones' character is really lame in that one. And like, none of those films really did well, so he would pop up from time to time. He was in that movie, The Time Machine, the remake, but he didn't get to see him much anymore because they look at box office. They go, well, I guess he doesn't sell. Cast someone else. And it does have this entertaining energy with the idea. It's a cool idea. You know, what if this alien species had this rapid evolution status, and it seemed like everywhere you turn there's always a different design, different type of creature. And when our two characters go in with suits and they're seeing all these different creatures, like this yellow blue thing, you don't know if it's coming or going, and like to really let the designs flow was nice to see on a creative level. Again, I wish more of that was done practically, puppetry, animatronically, but again, for its time, you know, the CGI worked for what it needed to do. Again, it's just maybe not something that will hold up in today's standards. But this was 2001. But again, what makes the film work to me are the characters. And, you know, Julianne Moore, she's the weakest of the four. I like Julianne Moore. I like her interactions with David Duchovny. I thought they were kind of sweet. And I do think she's a good actress. It's just the whole comedy bit that's just her being a klutz, I thought was rather meh. You know, she slips, she falls, or she gets stuck in a cab as she's trying to get out, and something of her coat or whatever just stopped at the cab door. I thought that was kind of weak with humor. It's like, well, we gotta give him something funny. Oh, they give him sort of this lackluster slapstick. Eh. Isn't that what he tried to do in Junior? With, what was her name? Lady who plays the female doctor who... she becomes the love interest for Arnold in Junior. I forget. It's been a while since I've seen that film. But wasn't she also kind of a klutz as well? I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen that. But I mean, yeah, moments when our characters see all these dead creatures, and because it's PG-13, Orlando Jones sees all this and goes, "Pre, Buddha Buddha." And the way David Duchovny, like, the way he looks at him, that creates a laugh out of me. During the whole surgery scene, there's always time for lubricant. After it's successful, David Duchovny's like, "Man, it was that big, you took it like a man." And Julianne Moore's like, "Hey, you need any ice cream?" "Yeah, what flavor? Doesn't matter. It's for my ass." And then you have the department store sequence. Again, my favorite bit of the movie where this monster is going through, grabs this lady, and our three are trying to do the best they can. And Seann William Scott gets the weird idea to go, "Cuckoo, caca, titty, titty. Stand back, man, I'm going to shoot him." No. I'll take care of this. "Listen, buddy, I don't think caca, tutti, tutti is working." And then Seann William starts singing. It's corny, yeah, but I thought because the actors involved, they make it work. I did David Duchovny playing against type. It's working. Yeah, keep going. And that's the thing, like, you did actors in here that sadly after this, you didn't see a whole lot of afterward, like, in movies. Like, Seann William Scott, Orlando Jones, even Julianne Moore. And that's because, again, when the films start flopping, if you did work, there's going to be more of a TV or independent circuit. Because, like, Seann William Scott, he was in films like The Rundown, which is a good movie, but that didn't do well, and they came out after this. Bulletproof Monk, which is an awful movie, which flopped. I mean, other than an American Pie sequel, he was in a few of them. He was in that film The Goon, which that might have went straight to video. I can't remember. Yeah, well, he's in that film Role Models. That did well. I believe he was in that one. But this, David Duchovny, maybe TV. He did that one, Californication. He did one that didn't last that long. I think it has some involvement with something to do with Charlie Manson, like a TV show. That didn't last long at all. Then that stupid X-Files revival that wasn't needed. But movie-wise, you didn't see much of David Duchovny. And even Ivan Reitman, he didn't direct a whole lot after. I mean, I know he did My Super Ex-Girlfriend, but it wasn't like a whole lot after this that Ivan Reitman got to do. Which is too bad. I mean, it's not every day that you get to see David Duchovny shotgun an alien in a department store. Or them dealing with these ape-like creatures that look pretty cool, or the battle of the alien creature with shampoo. It's a very unique, well, it takes the Ghostbuster skeleton, but it makes a unique skin onto the skeleton, if that makes sense. You take the basis of Ghostbusters, but by creating charming characters, having a good cast involved, at the time, they were good, CG effects. At the very least, there's some nice designs. Like I said, it's a fun premise. Originally, the premise was supposed to be for a horror film about alien creatures that get evolved at a rapid rate, which would be kind of cool to see a horror movie version of that. But of course, I was like, well, I want to do a comedy version. It does seem like there are other people that do enjoy this film other than me. You do see a bit of a little bit of a fan base. I know my friends enjoy it. I think my friend Effrey likes it. Michael Teen, the Choice Voice, I know he likes it. Mike OCP, I know he enjoyed it. I would say this, if you like Ghostbusters type of movies, if you're like me and you miss Ivan Reitman, and you want to see a cast work well together, and again, the effects don't hold up the best in today's state. Sometimes there's a bit too much of like anal jokes, because like the way they have to put the shampoo up to the creature is a certain orifice. It's like there's a lot of butt jokes in this. Like there's what happens with Orlando Jones' character. This is how they take care of the creature at the end. When our two main characters, when they're in the suits, before the bud gets into Orlando Jones, they'll look at stuff and they see like a creature and it turns. It's got like an ass on it. I'm like, okay, you could tone that down a little bit. Just tone that, tone it down a little bit. Like I said, I wish it was a bit more practical, but this was a fun movie. It was fun to rewatch it again. And it's a charming movie. It's a charming movie that did not get its due, sadly. And it deserves a bit more than it's gotten. Like I said, this feels more like Ghostbusters to me than any Ghostbusters we've gotten in the past 5 years. 6 years. And I stand by that. Now, granted, Ivan Reitman directing probably is what makes that happen to be. But yeah, Ivan Reitman was a great talent, and it's sad that he's no longer with us. So rest in peace, Mr. Ivan Reitman. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the good movies. And I hope you rest in peace. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.